and then it's signaling the bone marrow to make new red blood cells, which is profound because the bone marrow can make new red blood cells on its own. New red blood cells carry oxygen. I increase my CO2 threshold, I have more oxygen, I'm gonna heal my body. My mission when I'm breath holding is to recover my breath as fast as possible so I can breathe 4 in and 6 out and get that CO2 to come back down as fast as possible. So I drove it up, but then I also want it to come back to neutral with the 4 in and 6 out as fast as I can. It could even be 5 and 5, as long as it's that 10-second breath. Faster you can recover, the better. So within 8 to 10 seconds, I'm already feeling good. And then if you look at my rest times, it's like right around a minute. So I'm taking 6 breaths and I'm making sure that I am inhaling as softly as I can, but yet bringing more air in my lungs. But I'm thinking about being open. I'm trying to improve the ability to recover as fast as possible so I can go longer. If I recover all the CO2, what about all the oxygen that was just released during that breath hold? Now there's a higher hematocrit concentration of oxygen carrying red blood cells in the system. So then during that second breath hold, an increase in hematocrit, more oxygen soluble in the blood, that carbon dioxide the second time is going to look for that newly freed oxygen and it's going to signal more oxygen to be released. So each subsequent breath hold, there's more oxygen in circulation for you to live on while you're in the middle of the breath hold. Your body sends the newly available oxygen to the tissues that aren't sufficiently oxygenated. It won't send it to the ones that are already oxygenated. It's going to wake up the dormant cells, the ones that don't have oxygen. The oxygen is going to get into the mitochondria. It's going to spark the cell to make energy. The cell is going to have to pull in water to have that chemical reaction take place. Best, it needs H3O, which is structured water. That's why the fruit is there for you. The fruit will give you more of an ability to have a greater solvency of H3O. And then as the cell makes its energy, it's got to make waste. So if the cell's holding on to stuff, it's going to excrete the waste into the interstitial spaces, which is your lymphatic system, which is your fascial system, the extracellular matrix. And then 4 days later, that waste, if the kidneys are eliminating well and the lymph is moving clean, 4 days later from that breath hold day session, the waste comes out. And then while we're doing it, your kidneys are making erythropoietin. They're synthesizing this hormone, erythropoietin, which has many, many benefits. EPO, it's what the cyclists were taking in the Tour de France. It's preventing the destruction of red blood cells. It's a hormone. And then it's signaling the bone marrow to make new red blood cells, which is profound because the bone marrow can make new red blood cells on its own. New red blood cells carry oxygen. I increase my CO2 threshold, I have more oxygen. I'm going to heal my body with oxygen. That's why it's the oxygen advantage. But this has to happen over a longer period of time. And then Professor Buteyko said that they could prove that the method was curing at least 200 illnesses because it's all a lack of oxygen. Every illness would be a lack of oxygen. If something goes wrong in the body, there's not enough oxygen. That's it. You can't say anything else. And then it's either going to create an alkaline state of the blood or an acid state of the blood because there's only 2 sides of chemistry. So how I'm breathing is going to determine what my chemistry is. And then if my chemistry is too acid, I'm going to crave acid things. I'm going to be an adrenaline junkie. I might look for sex online. All of these things are because I'm constantly stimulated. I'm going to require more stimulation. And then if I'm too alkaline, I'm going to tend to be that person who's more of a daydreamer, who thinks a lot, has all these great ideas, but can't really put it into action because they're also without oxygen. They're breathing too hard, too much, too fast. They're removing the carbon dioxide. So they start to have things like bipolar disorder and depression because there's not enough oxygen in the system to get to the brain. It's all about the balance between carbon dioxide and oxygen. What is your chemosensitivity to those 2 blood gases, and how does it stimulate your barrel reflex, which is sensing this sensitivity to carbon dioxide. So when we hold our breath and we increase the carotid artery, because carbon dioxide has a direct relationship to the carotid artery, when we stimulate the carotid artery to be bigger, it has better blood flow. The vagus nerve runs right next to it. It also has these things called pressure receptors, baroreceptors. So this is your baroreflex, and it's sensing how much the tissue, the endothelial tissue, stretches. So if it stretches really fast, it's going to try to slow down your blood pressure. And if it's not stretching enough, it's going to speed up the heart to increase your blood pressure. So that's called the baroreflex. So when we train breath holding, we're training that reflex to be very resilient, because the breath hold following a passive exhalation is nothing but good things happening. It's the single most effective thing you can do for your body. Okay, I'm done.
No, it's good.
But boy, that was a roll. I just wanted to give you an update on my Recode Your Breath program, because I've been getting a lot of messages. And the good news is that spaces are still available, but they're limited. And the registration ends at the end of the month. But more than that, if you fail to register, you'll have missed out on an opportunity to work with me in an in-depth capacity. While I love being able to do personalized coaching programs, because my mission is to help as many people around the world restore their breathing mechanics, ultimately, I'm restructuring my business, and my one-on-one time, it'll start becoming more and more limited. So if you want to get personalized attention and detailed breath training from a master instructor, then now's the time to do it, because this offer is about to end. Now, in the program, I work with people one-on-one. Every single month, we get on Zoom and we do a one-on-one call, which is very valuable. And I assess your breathing mechanics. People will say, I don't need to be taught how to breathe. Well, when you were on a bike, if you were lucky, you got on a bike and rode right away. But for most of us, we had training wheels on the bike. And you learned just how to be on the bike and find some sort of balance, even with the training wheels. Well, when you were born, you were breathing perfectly. However, in kindergarten, when they sat you down, you immediately stopped breathing correctly because you didn't sit with a straight spine. We can adapt to sit, but we're not designed to sit. We're designed to move around. And when we move around, we would be breathing through our noses. We would be diaphragmatically breathing, which means we're breathing deeply. However, when you sit down, your spine rounds, it gets crooked, and you can't deeply diaphragmatically breathe. And then possibly were shamed by another child, shamed by a teacher, or shamed by your parents. And when that happened, it created trauma in your nervous system. And that trauma never goes away. It shows up in people's breathing mechanics 40 years later. I work with people from all over the world. I see this on a daily basis. And it's tremendous what you can achieve in a very short amount of time when you have the right instruction. I don't do breath work. I teach restorative breath exercises based on your present breathing mechanics. So you can't just go and do breath work. You need to make sure that the breath work you're doing is suitable for your body, for your physiological needs. And this is what people need. They actually need training. Just like I've been a personal trainer for 33 years and people came to me to work out. Well, now people come to me to restore their breathing. And you have this innate ability. You just need to be shown. So I want to make this call to action, because as much as I love working with people one-on-one, as I restructure the business, it's going to be more of a video where you do the assessments yourself, and then we have group coaching calls throughout the week. Obviously, as my time becomes more limited, which it is, for my one-on-one time, it's going to be much, much, much more expensive. Because I've been doing this for a long time. I've built a reputation that I'm there for people, I help people, I listen to people, and it's really more like life coaching, to tell you the truth, and I love it. I've never felt more satisfaction in my life than since I've been a breathing instructor, and now I have a new lease on life. I've only been doing this for 6 years, and now I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of me on social media, a lot of information. But if you want the best information, the most in-depth information, sign up today. You can direct message me with your email, and I'll send you an email about what the program entails. Or you can go on quantumfitness.org, click on services. You'll see Beginner Breathing with Brian. That's a 30-day automated program where you do it on your own. And you'll see the 6-month Recode Your Breath. And that's where we have the personalized attention. I'm telling you, this is it. I'm not going to do this anymore. This is the last time, and spaces are limited. I hope to hear from you. Have the day you deserve, everyone. Peace and love.